Hello, welcome back. This is the third video of lesson 2. And in this video, what we're going to be doing is creating a snowman. We're going to be building a snowman. Okay, so we're going to use the same techniques that we used in the first two parts of this lesson. Okay, so again, you can use the same template as before. I just deleted the other parts that were in here, or you can create a new template, a new base plate template, and delete the base plate. Okay, so our snowman is going to be made up of spheres. So let's go ahead and insert a sphere, and I'll tell you what size is. Okay, so I went ahead and inserted a sphere. And on this one, the size should be, let me think, I think it's 10. Let me check. Yeah, 10 looks good. So I made it 10, 10, 10. And as soon as you change one of the X, Y, or Z, the other ones change to the same value. You can't have different values on the size for a sphere. We want to anchor this piece, so remember to anchor it. Should be black here behind the anchor property. And what we want to do is we want to make 3 more spheres of slightly smaller size. And so we want to make sure that collisions is turned off over here. There is no check mark inside because we're going to want to overlap our pieces. Okay, so let's go ahead and start building our snowman. So let me change the camera view a little bit. Yeah, that's good. Right there. Okay, so we're going to make a copy. We're going to make a copy of this part, and then we're going to move it. So I'm going to go ahead and select the move button in the home menu, and I'm going to duplicate this piece. So I'm going to duplicate. Now there are 2 spheres here, but they're in the exact same place, so we can't see the second one. But if we move it up, oh, and on this, you know what? We want to turn snap to grid off. So let's go into the model menu, and let me highlight this for you. Okay, so we have model menu and then the snap to grid section. And what we want to do is we want to turn off the move snap to grid. So let me go ahead and do that. Just click off on the little checkbox, and now we can move smoothly. Okay, so now go back to the home menu, and now when we move this, we can move it anywhere we want. Okay, so let's change the size and the color on this. I know a snowman is usually white, but my snowman is going to be multicolored. So let's change the size to an 8. That looks good. I like that. And then you can move the body a little bit if you need to, and then change the color if you want. I'm gonna make mine something else. Okay, we're gonna do one more copy of the sphere for the head. So I'm gonna duplicate. I'm going to move it up slightly. Then I'm going to change the size. And I think on this one, a good size would be maybe a 4. Let me check. Maybe a 5, actually. Yeah, 5 looks better. And then move it, you know, where a snowman's head should be. And then you can change the color. I'm going to make this one yellow. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so this looks like the beginning of a good snowman. Oh, and I think I forgot. No, I didn't. I actually remembered to anchor my pieces. Okay. So now you can make a snowman out of these pieces any way you want. But I'm just going to use a cylinder for the arm. So let me show you how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to insert a cylinder. Okay, and let me make it longer. So I'm going to make this cylinder instead of 411. I think I'm going to try. Let me try 10. Let's see if that's too big. Maybe 12. Let me see how big 12 is. Yeah, 12. I think 1211 would be a good size for the arms. And I have the move button selected, and now I'm going to move this into the body of the snowman. There we go. Okay, now I want to move my camera to make sure that this is where I want it to be. I want it to be kind of in the center, a little bit further back. Oh, and I'm going to change the color also. Let me change this to like a white. And you know, the arms are a little skinny. You could definitely change the size a little bit. Maybe instead of, that's not in the center either. And maybe instead of an 811, you could, or instead of a 1211, maybe we could try a 12-2. Let's see how big that is. That might be too big. Maybe like a decimal. So we're gonna do 12, 1.5, 12, and then 1.5. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, now let me see what it looks like now. I might want to make them a little longer. Yeah, I think that looks good. I'm gonna keep the arm size that big. Okay, now what we want to do, oh, and I forgot to anchor my arms, so I anchored them. And now what we want to do is we want to place eyes on this snowman. And so again, we're going to use a sphere for that. So let me zoom in here. Okay, I'm going to put a small sphere here. So let me do a sphere. And the size on the sphere should be 111. 111 is a good size for the eyes. There it is. Okay. And now that I have that, white is actually a good color. And I want to place these in the correct position for his eyes. And, you know, go slowly and move the camera if you need to. Make sure that you can place these eyes where they need to be. And they should, you know, maybe be slightly inside of his head. You can have them maybe halfway in. Okay, and then let me see how this looks. That looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit closer that way. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so I'm going to make a copy of this eyeball. I'm going to duplicate it, and then I'm going to move it to the other side of his face. So duplicate, and then move it here. And now let's check and see that everything's straight. Did I anchor? No, I forgot to anchor the eyes. So let me go back and anchor the eyeballs. Okay, and we have a basic snowman here. Now you could do a number of things, right? You could add a nose, a mouth, you could give him feet, all kinds of stuff. I will show you right now that the toolbox is really fun and useful to use. And let me show you how. I'm gonna actually give him a hat, but instead of making my own hat, I'm just gonna use a hat from the toolbox. So let me show you where that, actually we've been using it, so you should know where the toolbox is because we've been putting our pieces inside the inventory menu of the toolbox. We're gonna click on this over here though. It looks like a little basket and it's the marketplace. Okay, and then you want to search for models. There's models, there's images, meshes, audio, videos, and plugins. We're gonna look for a model, and you just type here what you're looking for. I'm looking for a hat, and usually I just use this one right here. Let me click on the little plus, and you can see it's just a little top hat, but it looks good on the snowman. So I'm gonna use that one. And again, you can just left click, and drag it onto your snowman, and it's going to be a little small. We're going to have to change the size, but I'm going to close the toolbox and I'm going to zoom in on that hat because I'm going to want to stretch it using the scale button. Okay, so first thing, let me move it to where it's kind of centered on his head. That looks pretty good. Let me see how he's, yeah, it looks like I centered it pretty well on his head. But now what we want to do is we want to stretch it. Okay, so I'm going to press the scale key so that I can stretch this hat a little bit. And I'm just gonna do it by using these circles. This doesn't have to be perfect. That looks pretty good. Now let me make sure that this hat, see, it's a little high, so I need to move it down using the move button. That looks pretty good. It might still be a little small. Oh, and it's too far forward. Let me move it back a little bit. That looks pretty good though. The hat is centered on his head. Oh, not quite. Well, looks like it's a little crooked. Let me put it in the middle. Yeah, that looks pretty centered. Okay, I like the way that looks. And again, you could go crazy with this and get all kinds of pieces, all kinds of models from the toolbox, and really customize your snowman so that it looked fantastic. But, you know, this is good enough for me. So I'm going to go ahead and combine all of these different models into one model. And so you see they're all selected. I just used a left click drag window to select everything. And now I'm going to go ahead and group it using the group button here in the home menu. When I do that, it combines everything into one piece, and I can rename my model into Snowman. And again, I can save this to my toolbox by right clicking and then saying or pressing save to Roblox. This is my snowman. I'm going to let people copy it by pressing this button. Then I'm going to submit it. Okay, and it was successfully submitted, and it should be in my toolbox. Let me make sure. Go to inventory here, and there it is. There's my snowman that I just made. Okay, and again, I can drag it in here and add more snowmen. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and turn these so that I can jump on them. So let me delete the additional one that I put in here, because I'm gonna turn this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the rotate button, and I'm gonna make him lean back a little bit. You know what? That's pretty good. Yeah, I like that. Now I'm gonna move him so that he is easy to jump on. Let's see, that looks pretty good. Let me turn my camera, see that he's gonna be easy to jump on. Yeah, that looks good. And now I'm gonna make copies of him, and I'm going to move them so that I can use them in my obby. So let's do duplicate, and I'm gonna turn collisions back on just so that I can see that it's making a copy on top of the other one. There we go. And then I can move him up and down. Let me zoom out so you can see this better. Okay, and let me move him there and then down a little bit so that it's kind of like a stair. That works. And I'm going to make one more copy and then test this. So duplicate, move. Okay, and let me move my camera, make sure everything's kind of aligned. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, let me go ahead and test it and see if this works. Hopefully these don't fall out of the sky. No, they're good. Oh, something fell off. I think the hat fell off. Hold on. I think I forgot to anchor the hats. Yeah, I did. Okay, let me go back and fix that. Okay, so I'm gonna delete. Actually, it's pretty well. Yeah, I'll just delete these, and I'll fix my snowman. So right here, what you can do, what we used was the group button to combine all of these. And what you can do, actually, there's a little arrowhead next to snowman, and you can click on that and still see all of the pieces that you use to build him. So if I click on top hat, I can go ahead and anchor that. And now when I press play, this should stay on his head. Let's see. Yep, now the top hat is staying on his head. So let me go ahead and make copies of these, and then I will test it again. So I'm going to click on the snowman. I'm going to make a copy. Then I'm going to move him into position. We have collisions on, so these cannot pass through each other. That looks good. Make another copy and move him into position. Oh, it actually did. Okay. And let me move him down a little bit. Whoops. Let me zoom out a little bit. And that looks good. So let me give you a better angle for this. Yeah, so I have my three little snowmen kind of leaning back, and I'm going to be able to jump on them. So let me push play and test it. Make sure this works. And here we go. We have 3 little snowmen that I used as my obby platforms. And they look much nicer than just a regular block. And it worked. We were able to make and save our snowman. Oh, and okay, so we made some changes, right? We made some changes to the snowman. So you can actually replace the model that you have in your toolbox with this new one that has a hat that won't fall off. And so if I right click on this and I save to Roblox, there's actually an option here right down here. Let me highlight that for you. It says overwrite an existing asset. That basically means we're going to replace one of the assets, one of the models that we have already. And this is useful because Roblox doesn't let you delete anything. So if you make something and you change your mind and you want to delete it, you actually can't. What you can do though is you can replace it with something else. So I'm going to go ahead and overwrite an existing asset, and it shows me all of the things that I've made. So I'm going to overwrite or replace this snowman, and you see this little blue check mark that says it's ready to be replaced, and I hit submit, and that's it. It replaced the snowman that I had with this snowman that I just made. Okay, so if you ever need to make changes to your models that you are saving to your toolbox, this is how you do it. And also, because you can't delete any models from your toolbox, this is how you can kind of keep it organized, right? If there's something that you don't want anymore in there, just overwrite it and you can change the name and everything. And it's basically like deleting it. Okay, so this was lesson 2. And in this lesson, we learned how to make our own models using the parts that Roblox gives us: the sphere, the block, the wedge, and I forget the other one, the cylinder. And just using those 4 basic parts, we can make a lot of really complicated stuff, right? I mean, we made a snowman that doesn't look too bad. You could make trees, you could make houses, you could make cars. It just, some of the more complicated models would take a bit of time. But this is really useful. Again, if there's something in the toolbox that you can't find, like if you need a piece for your game, you can always make it yourself. So that's the end of this lesson 2. In the next lesson, we're going to continue this, but instead of adding pieces together, in the next lesson, we'll learn how to subtract pieces or cut holes in things, basically. Okay, so I'll see you in the next lesson. Take care.